and later got a judgment that he should be reinstated and paid. He was reinstated and retired, but till today he has not been paid both his unpaid entitlements and retirement benefits. He is therefore seeking the intervention of this house. The man does not have age on his side again, and his health is failing. He wants to be paid. With the permission of Mr. Speaker, can I please lay this petition?
Please proceed and lay the petition. Any more petitions? Honorable EJ, if you didn't have any petition, I would be surprised.
Mr. Speaker and dear colleagues, I remain Honorable Ehiozua Johnson Agbonanyima, representing the good people of Ego Ikubaha Federal Constituency, Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation. Mr. Speaker, before this honorable chamber, I have a petition from Mr. Collins Ari Wajoye, number 3, that's Olu Madomo Street, Ebute Meta, Lagos. Petition on the activities of Nigeria Association of Social Workers, NASO, in creating confusion in social work profession in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, I have another petition from Adege Youth Forum, Mutagba, Ogbe Kingdom, number 1, Inalu Street, Umwasa Dege, Ogbe, Kwale. The petition is against the Midwest Oil and Gas Company Limited, wrongful conduct, massive corruption, mindless impunity, total neglect, oppression and wrongful termination and disengagement of Mr. Jerry Ulie, production staff, with deliberate violation of 28 of Nigeria Oil and Gas Industry Content Act 2010 and Employment and Labor Relations Act 2004, contrary to international best practices, conduct likely to cause breach of peace, and appeal for this honorable house to intervene. I have another petition, Mr. Speaker, luminaries chambers, legal practitioners and consultants. Petition before this honorable house complaint of cheating and issuance of dump check against Honorable Ahmed Abu, member representing Mokwa, Itati, Labu constituency and the National Assembly by Malon Nigeria Limited of number 4 Bank Road, Mina, Niger State, is asking this honorable house to intervene. Mr. Speaker, I have another petition from Mr. Wisdom Oputa, number 1 to 5 London Line, Apple Mechanic Village, Abuja here, Mr. Speaker and dear colleagues. The petitioner is asking this honorable house to intervene and he appeal to protect his life and family and recovering of a loan borrowed from him. Mr. Speaker, his prayer is very simple, that the Inspector General of Police should kindly use his highest esteem, good office to protect his life and his family, and is urging this house to intervene. Mr. Speaker, finally, I have another petition from Songlair Nigeria Limited. Mr. Speaker, petition on the refusal of NDDC to honor the 2013 NDDC Appropriation Act budget with respect to the award of contract for technical support for Niger Delta Science School and campaign against drug abuse in the Niger Delta Region Secondary School. Mr. Speaker is appealing to this honorable house to intervene, and he believes that with the intervention of this honorable house, justice definitely will prevail, as this house is the last hope of all Nigerians. Mr. Speaker, I pledge your indulgence as I lay the petition before this honorable, wonderful, and great chamber.
Honorable EJ, proceed and lay the petition. But may I ask you, how do you get these petitions? Honorable, Honorable Abonta, I think you have to organize an award ceremony and confer that award on EJ.
He is very dear to the oppressed people of Nigeria, and they always say him.
Any more petitions? Petitions referred to the Committee on Public Petitions. Honorable colleagues, the first business of the day is presentation of report of Committee on Telecommunications, the issue from the Statutory Revenue Fund of the Nigerian Communications Commission, the total sum of 218,792,377,000 naira only, of which the sum of 44,334,686,000 naira only is for recurrent expenditure. The sum of 22,215,384,000 naira only is for capital expenditure. The sum of 15,789,898,000 naira only is for special projects, while the sum of 122,952,409,000 naira only will be transferred to the federal government of Nigeria, and the sum of 13,500,000,000 naira only is for budgets and Universal Service Provision Fund, USPF, for the period ending on 31st December 2019. Standing in the name of Honorable Said Akinade Fijabi, Honorable Fijabi is now invited to present the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Said Akinade Fijabi. I'm from Ibadan, Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, I move that the House do receive the report on the Committee on Telecommunication on the issue from Statutory Fund of Nigeria Communication Commission, the total sum of 218,792,377,000 naira only, of which the sum of 44,334,686,000 naira only is for recurrent expenditure, and the sum of 22,215,384,000 naira only for capital expenditure. The sum of 15,789,898,000 naira only for special projects, while the sum of 122,952,499,000 naira only will be transferred to the federal government of Nigeria, and the sum of 13,500,000,000 naira only for the budget of Universal Service Provision Fund for the period ending on 31st December 2019. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Kazim, represent Abeokuta North, Obafemi Wole, and Obeda. I rise to second the motion as heavily moved by my colleague, Honorable Said Akinade Fijabi. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Fijabi, please proceed and lay the report. The second business of the day is presentation report of the ad hoc committee on Treasury Single Account on the need to ascertain the proceeds of the Treasury Single Account TSA to enhance transparency, accountability, and good governance, standing in the name of Honorable Nambaram Nuhu Abakar. Honorable members will recall that the matter was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 22nd June 2016. Honorable Abakar is now invited to present the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Lambram Abubakar Nuhu, representing Kano Municipal, the only gentleman from the municipality in the whole of the Grand Chambers, and I'm from Kano. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I move that the House do receive the report of the ad hoc committee on Treasury single account on the need to ascertain the proceeds of the Treasury Single Account TSA to enhance transparency, accountability, and good governance, referred 22/6/2016. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Seconder, Honorable Francis, even though you're not on your seat, but I've waived it for you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, Francis Charles New York, and a member representing Koravas, Sparani, and Eastern Obulu Federal Constituency from Akwa Ibom State. I rise to support the motion that the report be received from the ad hoc committee. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Dambaram, please proceed and lay the report. Third business of the day is the presentation report of the Conference Committee on Bill for an Act to provide for establishment of Hospitals Management Board of the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Timothy Golu. Honorable Golu is now invited to present the report.
Black Mayl, your father. You are Black Mayl of your father.
Honorable Golu.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Honorable Golu Timothy Simon. I represent the very nice people of Pansin Kanke Kanafera constituency of Plateau State. I rise to move that the House do receive the report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Hospitals Management Board of the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Where's the report?
Seconder, none of you is on his seat. I will tell your friend that in his absence, you said you are the acting deputy speaker. Honorable Jeff, acting deputy speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. I represent the good people of Burukuma Diakonis. I'm from Benue State, acting deputy speaker. Okay, as far as stand to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Timothy Golu, I so move.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Golu, please proceed and lay the report. First order of the day, honorable colleagues, is the third reading of the bill for an act to provide for establishment of Data Protection Commission charged with responsibility for the protection of personal data and data subjects' rights and regulation of the processing of personal information and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Wednesday, 8 May 2019. Therefore, call leader of the House to move the bill be now read the third time. Leader. Third reading.
Respected Speaker, sir, esteemed colleagues, I rise to move that the act to provide for the establishment of Data Protection Commission charged with the responsibility for the protection of personal data and data subjects' rights and relations of the processing of personal information and related matters related to data as well.
Honorable MT.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the third reading of the bill as moved by the leader of the House.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. And I invite the clerk to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for now to provide for establishment of Data Protection Commission, charged with the responsibility for the protection of personal data, data subjects' rights and regulations, the processing of personal information and related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Second order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to amend the Industrial Development Income Tax Relief Act, Chapter 17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, by allowing companies that expand their operations in the pioneer industrial product to apply for a new pioneer status and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Wednesday, 8 May 2019. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move the bill be now read the third time. Leader.
Respected Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the bill for an act to amend the Industrial Development Income Tax Relief Act, Cap 17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, by allowing companies that expand their operations in the pioneer industry or produce to apply for new pioneer industries and for related matters related to tax and assessment.
Honorable Empty.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Muguno. I represent Martin Muguno, Ganza Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby second the third reading of the bill as moved by the Leader of the House.
Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for now to amend the Industrial Development Income Tax Relief Act, Cap 17 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, by allowing companies that expand their operations in the pioneer industry or product to apply for a new pioneer status and related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Third order of the day is the third reading of a bill for an act to amend the provisions of the River Basins Development Authorities Act, Chapter R9, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, for equitable distribution of river basin development authorities in Nigeria and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Wednesday, 8 May 2019. Therefore, call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Respected speakers and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move for the bill for an act to amend the provisions of River Basin Development Authority Act, Cap R9, Law of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, for equitable distribution of river basin development authorities in Nigeria and for related matters related to tax and assessment.
Honorable Empty.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the third reading of the bill as ably moved by the Leader of the House.
Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for now to amend the provisions of the River Basin Development Authorities Act, Chapter R9, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, for equitable distribution of river basin development authorities in Nigeria and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Fourth order of the day, honorable colleagues, the third reading of bill for an act to establish a Nigerian Council for Psychologists and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Wednesday, 8 May 2019. Therefore, call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Respected speakers and colleagues, I rise to move for the bill and act to establish the Nigerian Council for Psychologists and for related matters related to the third term. I so move.
Honorable Empty.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the third reading of the bill as heavily moved by the Leader of the House.
Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Now invite the clerk to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Council for Psychologists and Related Matters. Sorry.
Bill read the third time and passed. Fifth order of the day, honorable colleagues, the third reading of bill for act to establish the Federal College of Education, Monguno, Borno State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instruction and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, to provide for the appointment of the provost and other officers of the college to carry out the administration and disciplining of students of the college and for related matters. Honorable members who recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Wednesday, 8 May 2019. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Respected speakers and two colleagues, I let's move for the bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education in Borno State and to provide full-time courses, teaching instructions and training in technology, applied sciences, arts, social sciences, humanities and management, and to provide for appointment of the provost and other officers of the college to carry out the administration and discipline of students of the college and for related matters related to that assembly.
Honorable MT, will this one offend the principles of natural justice? If you second?
Yes, no.
Okay, so you can go ahead and second.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, with all sense of gratitude and pleasure, I hereby second the third reading of the bill as ably moved by the Leader of the House.
Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerks invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for an act to establish Federal College of Education of Borno State to provide full-time courses, teaching, instructions, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities and management, and to provide for the appointment of the provost and other officers of the college to carry out the administration and discipline of students of the college and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Sixth order of the day, honorable colleagues, the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture, that in Kowa, Gombe State, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration for related matters. Honorable members recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Wednesday, 8 May 2019. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Respected speakers and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Agriculture that in Kowa, Gombe State, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters related to that as so moved.
Honorable MT.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the third reading of the bill as ably moved by the Leader of the House.
Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerks invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for now to establish Federal University of Agriculture, Dakin Kowa, Gombe State, to make comprehensive provision for its due management and administration and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Seventh order of the day, honorable colleagues, the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the Abuja Geographic Information Systems Agency and for related matters. Honorable members who recall that the House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Wednesday, 8 May 2019. I therefore call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Respected speakers, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the bill for an act to establish the Abuja Geographic Information System Agency and for related matters related to that as so moved.
Honorable MT.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the third reading of the bill as ably moved by the
Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the bill for now to establish the Abuja Geographic Information System Agency and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed. Eighth order of the day is the commencement of debate on the general principles of Bill for an Act to provide for the establishment of Federal Polytechnic ITEM, Abia State, and for related matters standing in the name of the House Leader. Honorable members will recall the bill was transmitted from the Senate seeking concurrence of the House and read the first time on Tuesday, 7th May 2019. And I invite the leader to move that the bill be now read second time.
Respected speakers and distinguished colleagues, I ask you the bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal Polytechnic ITEM, Abia State, and for related matters, HB Senate read the third time. So move.
Honorable Abonta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Utraman Kimabonta. I second the motion that the item 8 and the other be read for the second time. I so support.
Leader, can you now lead the debate, please? General rules and business. Approach the chair.
Mr. Speaker, sir,
not former chairman. You are acting deputy speaker now.
Mr. Speaker, sir, respected colleagues, thank you very much. I want to crave first the indulgence. This is an establishment bill seeking concurrence coming from the Senate for the establishment of Polytechnic in the ITEM Abia State. Mr. Speaker and respected colleagues, they say if you say education is expensive, try ignorance. It will do us good to have this much number of institutions established across the country, and I think for the purpose of equity and fairness, lots have been done in other places. So it is in the light of this that I seek and crave the indulgence of the House to allow this bill be read the second time, so that our teeming population across the country and the other side of the divide can also have the opportunity of having conducive space for learning and for the purpose of developing our country. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, polytechnic education is one of those that are lacking in the country in terms of utilization. No country can grow above the level of education. It is in the light of these two that I'm asking and pleading with my colleagues to support this bill, and I want to believe that it will sail through without much problem. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues. These are my submissions.
Honorable Abonta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Uzoma Nkem Abonta. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, with all sense of duty and legislative representation, I want to speak in support of this bill that Abia State, like I argued in the other sister bill, on the grounds of equity and justice, deserves Federal Polytechnic. Mr. Speaker, we are operating a federal system where the confederating states or components are meant to partake on equal footing as other components. Mr. Speaker, from all the applications we are receiving here, it is very, very clear that Abia State is one of the states that had benefited least in federal projects. Mr. Speaker, I also want to believe again that I'm speaking the minds of the Abia representative here in this house, that as a matter of equity and justice, Abia State deserves a federal polytechnic. Mr. Speaker, when the sister bill of federal polytechnic of Abia State came up here, I supported wholeheartedly on the same arguments I'm canvassing here. I said earlier on that Abia State alone processed 5 applications 5 bills for the siting of Federal Polytechnic, Abia State. As much as I support this bill, permit me to deviate from citing. Mr. Speaker, Abia State needs a polytechnic built urgently by federal government. But we are saying it should be cited in the most favorable environment for academic exercise. Mr. Speaker, my brother and colleague applied for one. I did. Senate did. They have transmitted theirs here. That of the House is not completed. Are we going to present the 5 of them to Mr. President to give us 5 polytechnics? The answer is no. Do we deserve a polytechnic? The answer is yes. Therefore, I'll canvass again that the polytechnic for Abia should be sited in Okwa Road with stable land, without environment conducive for learning. All these areas are checked up. Therefore, while I support this bill for the passage to be read the second time, at the committee level, like you advised, we'll be able to know, considering the topography, the geography of Abia State, where will we locate these polytechnics out of these 5 applications? Mr. Speaker, you agree with me that Aba had been considered here. And then it generated a lot of hate in favor and against. And we're saying the state police is also there, the place is congested. So in the wisdom of the House and the committee, at the committee stage, we'll be able to know where best to locate it. But for Abia State, we deserve a polytechnic. I therefore suggest a bill that this bill allows to pass the second reading at the committee stage. We'll be able to know what should be done. I strongly support this bill, and I pray the honorable colleagues do not deny Abia State what is good for Abia. We're also part of it. Therefore, please let the bill go. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So at one time you said that Bende doesn't have table land. Honorable Nenna.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for yielding to me. My name is Nenna Elendu KJ, member representing Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank you for yielding to me to speak on this motion, on this bill. Mr. Speaker, it is evident from the arguments canvassed by Honorable Nkema Bonta and from everybody, they understand that indeed, that for the sake of equity, as well as the fact that Abia State is one of the states that churns out the most number of children in WAEC, that it's important for us as well to have a federal university, a federal polytechnic to mop up most of these students that have come out and are desirous of learning. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is evident that one of Nigeria's greatest exports coming in the next couple of years is going to be our human resource. Now, the reason why this is very important, Mr. Speaker, is that aside from everything else, the only reason why we're going to have a problem with exporting human resource is if they're uneducated, unlearned, and unemployable. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I think at the very base of all the problems that we presently experience in Nigeria is education, and therefore the lack of employability by the next generation. And so, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am very hopeful that my dear colleagues will look favorably upon this bill. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am a little surprised, and I must say that in advocating for this bill, Honorable Nkema Bonta would speak to flat table lands, to give the impression that in Abia State it's really not about what it is that we want, but about the location of it. I, as member representing Bende that has item in Bende, would be desirous of it coming to my constituency, and that's the reason I've brought it forth. But I'd also advise Honorable Nkema Bonta that we go back home and have the conversation about where it should be cited and not bring it out to the floor, so that again the arguments as to whether or not we're not sure of what it is we want comes up as an excuse for our colleagues not to support the bill. So therefore, Honorable Nkema Bonta asks that moving forward and on this particular matter that you will be given the opportunity, I doubt that you will, to withdraw that sentiment. And therefore, my colleagues, I ask that you please support this bill in the interest of what it is that Nigeria seeks to do, education for the next generation, as well as human resource development in such a way that gives us the opportunity to have one of the greatest exports that we can ever have, a human resource exported to the world. I so hope that my dear colleagues will look favorably upon this. Thank you very much.
Honorable Jimo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Jimo Abdurrahim Olajide. I represent Lagos Mainland Federal Constituency. I am a federal legislator. I'm not from Abia, or neither am I from Southeast. But this is an establishment for polytechnic, which is meant for education. And the place where it's going to be sited is a place there where we have so many number of educated persons. Therefore, this is necessary for polytechnic to be established, because poly means mono, where we can establish so many technical and technology structures in that place. And I want to say that, Mr. Speaker, for the fact that this has been listed on our order paper and is now for second reading, I am fully in support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think I'll put the question now. Okay, Honorable Nkole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Ukondupe Nkole. I represent Aruchiko Afia Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the third reading of this bill for the following reason, being that, like my brother Abonta and my sister Nena has said, Abia is about the only state that lacks that basic means of education from the federal level. In supporting that, I would also want to say one thing here, that my brother, Mr. Abonta, the impression should be very clear that all of us are united in making sure that we succeed in whatever thing we are doing to get a federal polytechnic in Abia State. When I decided that Abia, Aruchiko, Afia, or any other federal constituencies in Abia State, you see, I want to say one thing here. There was this hunter. He keeps going to lay trap. Now one day, his trap caught an antelope. There is this little thing that holds the animal to the trap. Now, when he saw the antelope, he started dancing, making some noise, and, you know, counting his enemies, the ones that will not benefit from the meat of the antelope. Now, the antelope became very jittery. So what the man was doing, and you know, made a small move. By the end of the day, the trap let loose the antelope, and the antelope ran away. Now, only for the man to come back, to start begging the antelope to come back, that the enemies he counted that not benefit from the meat will also eat the meat. So I want to advise that let this bill go. All the polytechnic establishment bills we have proposed, it is left for anyone that is being assented to, that sees the light of the day, to be counted that yes, that imbalance, that injustice that has been meted out to Abia State in terms of that federal polytechnic establishment has been corrected. That is the only time we can say that yes, that we have done justice. So, honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker, I am in support of this bill, and I pray that this bill sees the light of the day to support. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so support. Thank you.
Let me put the question. Honorable colleagues, the question is that the bill be now read the second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for now to provide for establishment of federal polytechnic within Abia State and for related matters, second reading.
being referred to Committee of the Whole. Ninth order of the day is the resumption of debate on general principles of a bill for an act to establish a Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Professionals in Nigeria for effective regulation, registration of members, determination what knowledge and skills that the practitioner is required to attain in order to qualify to practice as forensic and investigative professional, and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that on Tuesday, 7th May 2019, debate on the bill was adjourned to enable the Committee of Rules and Business examine the bill vis-a-vis the other bill on forensic auditors and report back to the House. I now invite Honorable Pajok to brief the House on the matter.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, my name is Edward Pajok. I represent the South Lagos East. Mr. Speaker, the report on the matter that was referred to me arose from a point of order from the Deputy Chief Whip. Our opinion is almost ready. There are not some I's that need to be dotted and some T's that need to be crossed. So may I crave the indulgence of the House to give us some more time. So I'd like to step it down.
Item step down by leave of the House. 10th order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Kirikasama, Jigawa State, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata. Honorable members will recall the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 11th December 2018, and I invite Honorable Fulata to move that the bill be now read the second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Abubakar Hassan Fulata. I represent Renewa, Greek Asama, Udi Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. I rise to move that a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture, Greek Asama, Jigawa State, and for related matters to be read for the second time. I so move.
Honorable Dr. Mohamed Sani Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Muhammad Sani Abdu Al-Kalerekri Federal Constituency. I'm from Bauchi State. I stand to second this motion effectively, more so that from Gumel up to the part of that Jigawa to this, there is no any tertiary institution. So I do second.
Honorable Fulata, please lead the debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, one of the major challenges of agriculture in Nigeria is the lack of proper application of science in agricultural production and preservation. The essence of this bill is to create an institution that will conduct serious research into agricultural production and preservation of agricultural products, and disseminate same to farmers who directly use the knowledge to boost agriculture and boost food production in Nigeria. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, when established, the college will create such campuses, departments, institutes, schools, departments, and other teaching and research units within the college as may from time to time seem necessary or desirable, subject to the approval of the
order in the House. Abonta, go to your seat.
Institute chief lecturerships and other academic titles and make other appropriate appointments there. Provide for residence, discipline, and welfare of members of the college, and hold public lectures, and undertake printing, publishing, and selling of books. Hold examinations, award degrees, diplomas, certificates, and other distinction to persons who have pursued a course of study approved by the college and have satisfied such other requirements as the college may lay down, and also award honorary degrees, fellowships, and academic titles. Demand and received from any student or other persons attending the college for the purpose of instruction such fees and as the college may from time to time determine, subject to the overall directives of the appropriate authority, accept gifts, legacies, and donations, but without obligation to accept same for a particular purpose unless it approves the terms and conditions attached thereto. Erect, provide, equip, and maintain libraries, labs, lecture halls, halls of residence, sports grounds, etc., and such necessary things suitable or convenient for any of the objects of the college. Make gifts for any other charitable purpose. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I urge you to support this laudable bill. I so submit. Thank you.
Honorable EJ, do you know where Kirkisama is?
Mr. Speaker, I'm in Nigeria, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Honorable Yosuwa Johnson Akwanima, member representing the good people of Ego Ikubaha Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, let me appreciate and thank my honorable colleague, Honorable Fulanta, for putting Nigeria, putting his constituency and his state first, because this is part of the reason why he was elected to represent his people, to represent the nation, bring it to bear where our youth, the Nigerian citizens, can benefit from good governance. A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of Federal College of Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, talking about agriculture, we have forgotten that agriculture, for many years ago, growing up, I used to see the northern part of Nigeria, the southern part, even the east, the west, so involved in agriculture. If you go to the north there, you will see granite pyramid. When you go to the southwest and south, you see cocoa, you see granite. We have palm oil. Mr. Speaker, something went wrong when we now decided to abandon the agricultural sector following crude oil, forgetting that every day of our life we must eat, and to be able to eat, there's a process. Those farmers have to have the knowledge of farming, of catering for the Nigerian people. And when you go further, you will understand that having a enabling environment, having able to create an institution such as College of Agriculture, our teeming youth, even though they have graduated, can go back to College of Agriculture to learn the ways and means how to better the life of all Nigerians by being a good farmer. Mr. Speaker, to a farmer, I've had the opportunity to see what you have done in farming. I don't think you just got all this wisdom, but I can tell that somebody, I don't know, put you through. We must be able to ascertain how we can develop ourselves so that we don't just concentrate only on crude oil. Even the crude oil we are talking about, most of them go to global destination on the place. So let's take the reality of agriculture. What can agriculture provide for us? Malaysia came to this country. This just Makane. Today, they are making billions and trillions developing their country. If we develop our institution, such as College of Agriculture, in every state, especially on this very particular bill, that is Karikasama. Mr. Speaker said, I don't know that place. I do. I'm a Nigerian. This is Jigawa State, Mr. Speaker. Kani Kasama is in Jigawa State. And I'm appealing to my honorable colleagues to support this bill so that our TV youth can benefit from this. So at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, I might end up trying to apply to go and have a good farmer again. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I hope I'm protected. My young brother, my son is making noise while I'm speaking and it's against the rule of this house. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity that this bill is a wonderful bill, Mr. Speaker. This bill is speaking for the Nigerian people. This bill is speaking for you and I. This bill is speaking for the good government that we are all here to represent. This bill is for all of us. This bill will take Nigeria to the next level. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
It's a straightforward bill, so I'll put the question. But I'll allow Honorable Abdullahi to speak last.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Ibrahim Abdullahi Tufi, and I represent Duse and Kiab constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, this bill couldn't have come at a better time than now. Jigawa State, Mr. Speaker, 95% of our people are farmers. Mr. Speaker, the contribution of farming in Nigeria has far exceeded that of oil in terms of contribution towards GDP. Mr. Speaker, like I said, this bill couldn't have come at a better time because one, our people are farmers, two, we need to grow that industry just like it is the main emphasis of this government. Agriculture, like you know, Mr. Speaker, is the main thing in this next level government. So, Mr. Speaker, I stand to support that we establish this College of Agriculture so as to take agriculture in my state, in Jigawa State, and in Nigeria to the next level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So, honorable colleagues, I'll put the question. The question is a bill be now read the second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Last invited to the long title of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the bill for now to provide for establishment of Federal College of Agriculture in the Kasama, Jigawa State, on related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to Committee of the Whole. 11 to order of the day, honorable colleagues, the motion on rescission of adoption of clauses 23(2)(a), 26, 33(4) of the National Tobacco Control Regulations 2019, pursuant to Order 9, Rule 16 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, standing in the name of Honorable Simon Arabo. Honorable Simon is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues. Simon Arabo is my name. I represent Federal Constituency. I rise to move for the rescission of adoption of clauses 23(2)(a), 26, 33(4) of the National Tobacco Control Regulation 2019, pursuant to Order 9, Rule 16 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. The House notes that the report of the Committee on the Regulation on the National Tobacco Control Regulation 2019 was adopted on Tuesday, 7th May 2019, not what appears there, that's the printer's level. The House also notes that the adoption of the above clauses conflicts with existing laws such as the Standards of Operation of Nigeria Act, the Federal Commission on Consumer Protection Act 2018, the National Tobacco Control Act 2015, the Custom and Excise Management Act 2004, and Executive Order 001/2017. As a matter of fact, we also discovered that Clause H on schedule, the fifth schedule is also going to be affected. Therefore, resolved to rescind its decision on clauses. The House therefore resolved to rescind its decision on clauses 23.2a, 26, and 33.4 of the National Tobacco Control Regulation 2019 and recommit same to the Committee of the Whole for adoption, for the consideration and adoption. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Lambaram Nuhu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Dambram Abubakar Nuhu, representing Kano, the only gentleman from the municipality in the whole of the Great Chambers, and I'm from Kano. I rise to second the motion heavily moved by my good friend, Honorable Simon. I so second.
This is straightforward. Okay, Honorable, do you want to say anything about it?
I appreciate that, Mr. Speaker. Put the question.
Okay, straightforward. So I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, we move to consideration of reports. First is the 12th order of the day, which is the consideration report of the Committee on Delegated Legislations on the National Tobacco Regulations 2019. Honorable members will recall the report was committed to committee on Thursday, 9th May 2019. Honorable Simon Arabo will move for its consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My distinguished colleague, Simon Arabo is my name. I represent Professional Constituency. I rise to move that the House do reconsider the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on the National Tobacco Control Regulations 2019. I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Baba Jimmy Benson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Baba Jimmy Benson, Ikorodu Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by my good friend, Honorable Arabo.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 13th order of the day, honorable colleagues, consideration of bill for an act to repeal the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Chapter C20 in Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Companies and Allied Matters Bill to provide for the incorporation of companies, limited liability partnerships, registration of business names together with the incorporation of trustees of certain communities, bodies, associations, and for related matters. Honorable members will recall the bill was committed to Committee of the Whole on Wednesday, 8 May 2019. Honorable Edward Gengpajo will move for its consideration.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain Edward Pajok, the Southwest East. Mr. Speaker, may I move that this House will consider a report on the bill on Act to repeal the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Cap C20, LFN 2004, and enact the Companies and Allied Matters Bill, provide for the incorporation of companies, limited liability partnerships, registration of business names, together with incorporation of trustees of certain communities, bodies, associations, and for related matters. SB 1576. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Seconder, Honorable Shekarau.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Hassan Adamu Shekarau. I represent Brunungwali Federal Constituency. I'm from Kaduna State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by the Chairman of Rules and Business. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 14th order of the day, honorable colleagues, is resumption of consideration of report of the Committee on Financial Crimes and the bill for an act to amend the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act, Chapter E1, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, provide for quick recovery procedures for stolen assets, implement active pursuit of cases, build capacity, and improve trust and cooperation with foreign counterparts, ensure adequate funding of the Commission, more independent and effective in the enforcement of economic and financial crimes, and to enhance effectiveness of the bill and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that on Wednesday, 8 May 2019, the House and the Committee of the Whole considered clauses 1 to 24 and deferred further consideration of the report to enable the Chairman Committee on Financial Crimes work with the Committee on Rules and Business to re-examine and rework the provisions of the bill. I now invite Honorable Edward Pajok to brief the House in the matter.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, my colleague has been very busy, Honorable Kayode Ladele, who chairs the Committee on Financial Crimes. I can see he's not even on the floor of the House now. On the narrow issue on clause 25, which we're supposed to brief the House on, I will crave the indulgence of the House that maybe we should consider the other parts of the bill which are not contentious, and then adjourn to the next legislative day for us to give our considered opinion on that clause 25 of the bill. I so move.
So it's Honorable Kayode around? He's not around, so who's going to move for the resumption of the consideration of report? Are you taking it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Honorable Speaker, may I move that this House do resume consideration of the report on a bill for an act to amend Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act (CAP) 1 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. Provide for quick recovery procedures for stolen assets, implement active pursuit of cases, build capacity and improve trust and cooperation with foreign counterparts, ensure adequate funding of the Commission, more independent and effective in the enforcement of economic and financial crimes, and to enhance the effectiveness of the Commission for related matters. I so move.
Any seconder? Seconder. Honorable EJ.
Right Honorable Speaker, I remain Honorable EJ Agmoanyima, representing the good people of Ego Ikubaka Federal Constituency, Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation. I rise to support the report by Honorable Kayode, ably moved today by the Chairman Rules and Business, Honorable Pajok. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 15th order of the day is consideration of report of the Committee on Financial Crimes on the bill for an act to repeal the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 and enact the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Bill and for related matters. Honorable members will recall the report was laid on April 30, 2019. I now invite Honorable Kayode Oladele to move for its consideration. Chairman, Rules and Business.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday the report on this bill was circulated by the members, and I do remember that you reminded members to keep copies of their own reports. So since the matter has been adjourned to today, may I move that this House do consider the report of the Committee on Financial Crimes on a bill for an act to repeal the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 and enact the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Bill 2019 and for related matters, HB 391 and 410. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Flatter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Abubakar Flatter. I represent Plenary, Krika Sama, Udi Federal Constituency, Mr. Speaker, I'm from the Gao State. I rise to second the motion moved by Rules and Business Chairman that the House will consider the report of the Committee on Financial Crimes on a bill for an act to repeal the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 and enact the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Bill and
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 16th order of the day is consideration of report of the Conference Committee on the Bill for an Act to regulate the manufacture, importation, distribution, and quality control of fertilizer in Nigeria. Honorable members will recall the report was late on Thursday, 2nd May 2019. Honorable Mohammed Tahir Monguno moved for its consideration.
Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martin Monguno, Gaza Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that the House do consider the report of the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to regulate the manufacture, importation, distribution, and quality control of fertilizer in Nigeria and related matters be considered. I so move.
Any seconder, Honorable Hassan Kila, Yuguda.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Hassan. I represent Waram Federal Constituency. I am from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, Honorable colleagues, I rise to second the bill being considered, sponsored by Honorable Tahir Monguno. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 17th order of the day is consideration of report of Conference Committee on the Bill for an Act to provide for establishment of Hospitals Management Board of the Federal Capital Territory and for matters connected therewith. Honorable members will recall the report was laid on Thursday, 9 May 2019. Honorable Timothy Golu will move for the consideration of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Golu Timothy Simon, and I represent the very nice people of my Kanki Kanapera constituency. I move that this House will consider the report from the Conference Committee on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Hospitals Management Board for the Federal Capital Territory and for matters connected therewith. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Barrister Soba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Honorable Muhammad Musa Soba. I represent Soba Federal Constituency. I rise to support the motion ably moved by Honorable Timothy Golu. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 18th order of the day is consideration of report of Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions Bill for Act to repeal the Veterinary Surgeons Act, Chapter V3 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Veterinary Surgeons Bill and for related matters. Honorable members will recall the report was laid on Wednesday, 5th July, 2018. Honorable Linus Okore will move for its consideration. In his absence, Honorable M.T. Monguno will take it.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohammed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martin Monguno, Gaza Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions on a bill for an act to repeal the Veterinary Surgeons Act, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Veterinary Surgeons Bill and for related matters, House Bill 836 considered. I so move.
Any seconder? Honorable Dr. Achibon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dr. Henry Achibon is my name. I represent the club in Ibiono Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support that the House receive the report as laid by the Chairman House Committee on Agri Institution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 19th order of the day, honorable colleagues, consideration of 3 reports of the Committee on Tertiary Education Services. Honorable Aminu Suleiman will move for the consideration of the reports.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. I'm from Kano State, and my name is Comrade Aminu Suleiman.
I didn't raise the issue of comrade, please don't raise it.
Honorable Speaker, you are intimidating me. I begin to humble each time. very careful leader. Honorable Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I'm from Kano State, and I represent Page Federal Constituency. And my name is Comrade Amin Suleiman. Honorable Speaker, sir, may I move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to amend the Tertiary Education Trust Fund to include colleges of agriculture, tertiary teaching hospitals, and private universities as beneficiaries of the fund, and increase some penalties and for related matters. Honorable Speaker, I do move that the House will consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to amend the University of Nigeria Act, CAPU 11, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to specify the minimum qualification for the chairman of the Governing Council, ownership of intellectual property, and provide for pre-action notice to the University Authority and for related matters. Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I also do move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to establish Federal University Birnin Kebbi State as a conventional university with restricted programs and limited focused facilities to ensure equity and access to tertiary education in the country and for related matters, HB 1161. I move, Honorable Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable Bonvik.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I remain on Depot member representing Surulere of the Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion as moved by the chairman of House Committee on Education. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. 20th order of the day, honorable colleagues, consideration of two reports of Committee on Gas Resources. Honorable Frederick Abedi will move for the consideration of the reports. In his absence, is anyone taking the reports? Honorable Abedi is now on the floor. Chairman, Rules and Business.
Honorable Speaker, we may have to step down this report because neither the chairman of the committee nor any of the members has approached me to indicate whether the report itself is ready. So may I move that we step down of both this report and the next, even the next one.
So the two reports otherwise to have been presented by Honorable Frederick Abedi are hereby stepped down by leave of the House. We move to 21st order of the day, which is consideration of report of Committee on Public Accounts on the annual report of the Auditor General of the Federation 2010. Honorable members will recall the report was laid on Wednesday, 10th April 2019. Honorable Oke Chinda will move for the consideration of the report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues. Kingsley Chinda, I represent Obiabo Federal Constituency. I'm an Ikwere man from River State. Mr. Speaker, I most humbly move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on the annual report of the Auditor General of the Federation 2010, which was laid on the 11th day of April 2019. I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Hassan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Isa Hassan Mohammed, representing Jamari Interest Gadao. I'm from Bauchi State. I stand to second the motion heavily moved by Honorable Chinda. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. The 22nd order of the day is consideration of report of the ad hoc committee on Treasury Single Account on need to ascertain the proceeds of the Treasury Single Account TSA to enhance transparency, accountability, and good governance. Honorable members will recall the report was laid on Thursday, 9th May 2019. Honorable Dambaram Nuhu Abubakar will move for the consideration of the report. Is Honorable AIG on the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Nambram Abubakar Nuhu, representing Kano Municipal, the only gentleman from the municipality, the board of the Great Chambers, and I am from Kano. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I move that the House do consider the report of the ad hoc committee on Treasury Single Account on the need to ascertain the process of the Treasury Single Account TSA to enhance transparency, accountability, and good governance, and approve the recommendations therein laid 9/5/2019 as presented in the order paper. I so move.
Honorable Nkiruka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kiruka Ujejoch. I represent the good people of the Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my honorable colleagues. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. I think we have come to a climax. Chairman Rules and Business in the move for suspension of arrears to enable me preside over committee of the whole. Honorable AIG, is he on the floor?
Mr. Speaker, in view of the absence of the Deputy Speaker who should preside over the committee of the whole, may I move that we suspend our rules to enable Mr. Speaker preside over the committee of the whole. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Seconder. Honorable Dambaram Nuhu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues. I remain Honorable Nambram Abubakar Nuhu, representing Kano Municipal. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Leader, motion that will resolve into committee of the whole.
Our respected speakers and chief colleagues, I ask you that the House will resolve to the committee of the whole to consider the report. I so move.
Empty. Second.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the motion by the leader that the House will resolve in your committee of the whole to consider reports.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. House hereby resolve into committee of the whole to consider the reports.
Very fast, sir. What is our friend coming out? Yeah, no, me and you only have one friend together. Whoever we have is a colleague. When that one will meet me and you.
Honorable colleagues, the first report to be considered is that of the Committee on Delegated Legislations on the National Tobacco Regulation 2019. I invite Honorable Simon Arabo to give us the synopsis of the report. Honorable Arabo. Honorable Nkiruka.
Please. Honorable Nkiruka, please. Be guided.
Thank you, our chair. Chair, the reports have been circulated to my colleagues.
Honorable, what are we waiting for?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The basis of, after the order, please. After the passage of our report on Tuesday, we noticed 3 clauses that would conflict with some existing legislation. And we thought that we should bring it for rescission and readoption. We've done some amendments on those 3 clauses. And some of the clauses that they are clauses 23, 26, and 33.4. There will be conflicts, and also consequentially, we noticed that Schedule 2 and Schedule 5H have to consequentially amend it because of the for it to flow with the law. So basically, the basis of this motion for rescission is that the regulations should flow along with the law, some of the laws in this country. I saw something, Mr. Speaker. And furthermore, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chair, we discovered that the best practice worldwide is that those who import tobacco products into countries, that the law actually gives them very, very high levies for the purpose of the tobacco control. So even at that, we also encourage the local manufacturers, and as the case may be. So we are proposing that we will even hike the fees as appeared in 23.2, so that the importers of tobacco should pay more money. So that's to further shield people from more tobacco coming to the country. So it will read 10 million naira for those to manufacture and 20 million if they want to import tobacco into Nigeria. That will help in the regime of tobacco control. It will increase smuggling. Someone says it's increasing.
Arabo, I don't really understand what you're saying. Because you said the provision of regulation, for instance, is 30 million naira under section 23, okay, regulation 23(2)B, but you are recommending 2 million naira.
Distributors, we're talking about importers. Importers appears under 2 there. We have put 5 million, it's too small for them. But somebody said that it will encourage smuggling. But we said, because we said 5 million naira to manufacture or import tobacco products. That's a product license. Because already customs is dealing with them, the importers. But since the law says that if you must deal in tobacco, you must get a license. When I said you just get a product license. And we thought that 5 million naira is too small for them.
So what are you recommending?
I'm recommending 10 million naira if they want to manufacture and 20 million naira if they want to import.
But why is it on your report?
I'm trying to amend.
Pardon?
I'm trying to amend. That's it. I was trying to lay for an amendment. So
you bring a report and you are amending it yourself on your own. You want to amend it.
I was trying to lay a foundation that when it comes there, I'll do an amendment. So this is a synopsis, sir, before it is carried.
Honorable Carried is the acting speaker. Because you have taken the speaker's seat. Like we had acting deputy speaker. So you can speak from the seat, no problem. I have surrendered it to you.
Mr. Chairman, it's because
don't worry about that. Just make your contribution.
My name is wait now. The chairman said I can speak. He said I can speak from here. Mr. Chairman, As a matter of fact, we sat.
No, you haven't told us your name then.
My name is
No, you must be Yakubu Dogara. Look at what is there.
My name is not Right Honorable Yakubu Dogara, but Prince Rotimi Agusoye. Mr. Chairman of the House, as regards to the amendment that the chairman delegated legislation rightly made, as I'm a member of the committee, we sat, we reviewed, and we saw that there was a mistake in what he brought to the House. So what we amended is in line with what we agreed together in the committee in the last meeting. He just made a mistake in the presentation.
It's okay. I thought that you will have effected what you are recommending to the House on this report, not to bring the report and the same people who wrote the report are asking for amendment of the report. That's just the part that I frowned at. Professor Mojid.
Professor Majid Alabi, I represent the north, the south, Egbedore, and the Ijibo Federal Constituency. Mr. Chairman, by the rules, we are expected to consider the report of the committee, not individual submission of members of the committee. So as far as I'm concerned, this report is incompetent, and the House is not competent to take the board. If you actually agree your committee, why didn't you bring the report? There is no report before the House. The report before the House is what is here. But I don't mind. I'm saying you could have brought a new one. What is here is not a report. And this House is not coming here to consider your individual opinion. It is to consider the report of your committee. The report of your committee is what we are having here. Any other thing is not competent to appear before the
Chairman. Okay, Honorable Prof, thank you very much for that observation. But you taught us in school that the issue of form shouldn't defeat substance. So we'll try to look at the substance. If there's no substance, we'll throw it away. But we shouldn't allow the issue of form to override substance, Prof.
To tell us
yes.
that the committee actually took that issue.
Okay, let's examine the substance first.
That is the point we are making. Because we're going to pass something that will go to other people to vet, and people will come back and say, you have defaulted in procedure. We have had enough of rejecting bills. We want to be sure thorough procedure is followed before we take them.
Let's look at the substance, Prof. Okay, honorable colleagues, we've had them. If there's anything we need to cure in the substance, we can do that. Let's not allow the issue of form, because we don't have time to defeat or override the issue of substance. This is a very simple report. We shouldn't waste time on it. It's just two clauses, 3. So clause 23, are we good to go on that one? 23. Pardon? It's 23, 26, and 33. Finished. So 23, Honorable Pajok.
Mr. Chairman, I am Edward Pajok, may I propose to amend clause 23, subsection 2, to delete the first 5 and substitute it with 10. That is for those who seek to manufacture tobacco to pay 10 million naira before the issued licenses, and then...
No, let's stop there, please, so they will take them one after the other. So, Honorable Padre is proposing an amendment to 23, Rule 23.2. Instead of 5 million, he's proposing 10 million. So you should read 10 million to manufacture, import tobacco or tobacco product license. Instead of 5 million, 10. That's what Honorable Pajok is proposing now. So 10 million, any seconder, instead as against 5 million, which is in the report. Honorable Biodun. building.
One is limited for calculating. No, it's not. No, it's not.
10 million is too low.
It's too low.
So, Honorable Panjo, your 10 million is too low. Honorable Bulus Maren.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Chairman Solomon Maren is my name, and I represent Mangu Pokos. I'm from Plateau State. Mr. Chairman, the provision in 23.2, which stipulates 5 million for manufacturer and importer. Mr. Speaker, a manufacturer will build plant in this country, will employ people, will create employment, whereas an importer is taking off-the-shelf products into the country to sell. So I think there must be a distinction between these two. One is creating employment, the other one is creating employment in another country and taking resources from our nation. So we need to differentiate between what a manufacturer should pay and what an importer should pay. That's where I'm going to. That's where I'm going to.
Order, please. Please.
That's where I'm going to. So, Mr. Speaker, I will suggest that that we amend this section to read that a manufacturer should pay 10 million, whereas an importer should pay 15 million. That's my submission, Mr. Speaker.
So, manufacturer 10 million, importer 15. What's the difference between 15 and 10 million?
That importer should be prohibited.
Honorable Ali Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Nasir Ali Ahmed. I represent Nasara Federal Constituency, and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, in all sincerity, the amounts that they are talking here is way too low. Why I say so, Mr. Speaker, is because we are talking about a substance that is addictive here. An addictive substance. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, in countries all over the world, what is being done is to discourage the manufacture and the consumption of this substance. So, Mr. Speaker, I strongly believe that the amounts that they are calling here is way too small. It's way too small. 15 million naira and 5 million naira, Mr. Speaker. We're talking about an industry that is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The amount that they're making is astronomical. So, Mr. Speaker, first of all, I totally disagree with the amount that should be paid for the license, either for an importer or for a manufacturer. It should be nothing less than 200 million naira, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker. It should be nothing less than we're supposed to discourage it, not to support it. It is an addictive substance, Mr. Speaker, and I believe these figures are way too small, Mr. Speaker. They must be reviewed, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, you've heard him. Arabo, is there any reason why you are recommending 10? Because these are people who want to come and kill our people.
Sorry, well, for now, sir, as we speak, it is this parliament that passed the National Tobacco Control Act 2015. Taking of tobacco is not criminal. So the legal regime now is that it is lawful to take tobacco in Nigeria. Now, what the act tries to do is essentially to control the, especially passive smokers. And our president signed Executive Order 001/2017, which the court has a force of law. You cannot create an atmosphere of a business that is legitimate legally, and then you bring some punitive measures. I believe that if we say that manufacturers should pay 10 million and importers pay 20 million, that's reasonable, especially in the context of the context of executive order 0, that's the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Because as we speak, it is not a crime to smoke cigarette. And if you look at the law, sir, if you look at the National Tobacco Control Act, many people should have actually been arrested and prosecuted, but nobody has been prosecuted for smoking cigarette. Maybe you go to Abacha Barracks, the Mame Market. If you go by the law, nobody's supposed to smoke cigarette there, but they smoke. Nobody has been prosecuted. I think what the law basically is on control, especially for passive smokers. We cannot set some fines here that look punitive for an industry that, as we speak now, legally, we pass the law. It's not criminal.
It's yearly. It's a yearly payment. It's not one.
So thank you, sir.
Honorable Chinda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My dear colleagues, I begin to wonder the essence and purport of this amendment, whether we actually want to control the manufacture and consumption of tobacco or we want to encourage it. If you look at the old law, the provision is that where you apply for approval, the fees payable are 35 million naira per variant of tobacco product you intend to import or manufacture, and 30 million naira for distributor's license. And what we are proposing, we're talking about 5 million and then 2 million. Even the amendment sought here, we're still talking about 10 million. So are we actually encouraging the manufacture and consumption of tobacco? If we're amending and we are talking about increasing the payable fee, then one will understand where we're going to. If the essence of this amendment is perhaps to encourage manufacturers to come in, then it should be made clear. The amendment, to me, does not make sense. Bringing down the cost of the application fee from 35 million to 5 million. It doesn't matter. So I think the proposal of this amendment should take us through this properly. Let us know whether we want to encourage or we're actually discouraging the consumption and manufacture of tobacco.
Honorable Bonta.
Thank you, Chairman. I remain Uzoman Kima Bonta. I've listened attentively, particularly to the two last speakers. Chairman, sir, and honorable colleagues, I think they will look at the intendments and the very reason for this amendment. We do not intend to ban tobacco smoking or production. I think the aim is to drastically reduce the consumption because of the perceived health hazard it comes. Most medical doctors smoke cigarette. In fact, there's a warning. But what we're trying to do is to reduce drastically. And I want to caution one thing. Even if you sell a stick of cigarette, 1,000 naira, some will go out of their way to get it, if it's an addiction. So the intendment, what government wants to do, is to drastically reduce the availability and consumption and this. If the old law says 35 million and there's amendment could be used positively in reduction to encourage that. But I think also a ridiculous price in the license fee will also make a nonsense of the intendment of trying to discourage it. But we should not do it in the manner that it will become exclusively for the rich or will have. Because if you do so, they'll still buy it. Mostly the Nigerian syndrome. The more a brand gets more expensive, the more we'll get it. There are other dangerous things like cigarette. I may go to say that Coca-Cola, a bottle of Coca-Cola is as dangerous as one packet of cigarette. We'll not come to that. Therefore, we're even encouraging the production of other things like that. But I pray we'll get there one by one. Therefore, the amendment should target purely at reducing production. In fact, we should even say the number of cartons that any importer can get in a year. If you flood the market, say pay 35 million, they pay 35 million naira, and they bring 100 containers of benzene. I mean, it also flood the place. We should also put a control on the quality and quantity, and also while we're also looking at the money, we should prescribe what amount you cannot bring. Mr. Speaker, some drugs are dangerous, they ban them, but it's not forbidding them medically, like the tramadol and all whatnot. There are still medical drugs available, just that it's been abused. We only abuse them. So we're only preventing the consumption of cigarettes, the abuse of it, those are health risks. So we should be careful what we do, so we do not create labor scarcity, we will not create economic whatever. And nobody will argue that we don't have economic viability of cigarettes for those who smoke. There's also economic implication of tobacco company also. We must be very, very careful. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, so that we don't escalate these debates, I guess it's a very simple issue. We should try and look at the mischief we're trying to deal with this amendment. The point is, do we want to control the manufacture and distribution of tobacco, or do we want to encourage it? If we're trying to control it, then we look at what is the base level of fee that can discourage people from actually wanting to set up these plants that produces cigarettes that kill our people. So if we think 5 million is okay, fine, we'll go with it. If we think 10 is okay, fine, because 10 million is less than even $35,000. So is that going to discourage any prospective businessman from setting up plants to produce tobacco? That is the question we should answer. So if we want to discourage them, we must escalate the fees. But if we want to encourage them, then we decrease the fees. It's as simple as that. So, Honorable Piotr?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, my name is Biodun Olashuko. I want us to look at this thing in perspective. You know, as the chairman House Committee on Legislative Compliance, it is every public hearing on this matter I get invited. So when they were doing the interactive session, I was actually invited. So there's a need for us to look at not to just look at the conclusion of this report, but to rely on the information the chairman will give us. And the chairman has not actually succeeded in doing that. During the interactive session, the issue there was that we have the economic and the health implication. So when they look at the health implication, price by experts does not control the consumption, and that by the time you increase all these levies, you stifle local industry that produce job, even if it is dangerous, and you are encouraging people to now smuggle it into the country. So what the argument then was that there are other aspects of the regulations that were meant to control the consumption of tobacco, and that in terms of increasing levies, because this is just a registration license that you have to pay yearly. So if you do that, that means you are stifling the local industry and encouraging people to smuggle the cigarette in. So if you kill the local industry because we don't want it, somebody will smuggle it in. So there are other aspects of the control that was looked at, and it was agreed that those aspects is even far more important than the issue of this.
Mr. Speaker, as you quite rightly identify, this issue, can I have something quiet? This issue is, you draw a line. Either you want to encourage the consumption of tobacco, or you want to discourage it. There can be no fudging of this issue at all. I stand firmly on the side of the divide that says you should discourage by whatever means the consumption of tobacco. If that means increasing the license fees, so must it be. If that means taxing tobacco at the user's end, so must it be. If that means stopping the importation of tobacco, so must it be. In other countries, I don't know whether we've got there yet here, in other countries you buy a packet of cigarettes, it says tobacco smoking kills. So why on earth, when you know smoking kills, and you put a big sign on the side of the packet, yet you want to reduce the fees for somebody who produces the same tobacco? It is not an argument, I'm afraid to say, it is not an argument to say that people will be out of a job. It's not an argument to say that other people will carry out illegality and begin to import it. That's not an argument. The argument is, you as the government, as the responsible government, and as the responsible parliament, we must do our part to reduce the consumption, the production, distribution, and consumption of tobacco. Anything else means that ideologically, practically, and sensibly, we are doing the wrong thing. And that will send a wrong signal. So Mr. Speaker, you're quite right. Which side of the divide do you follow? Don't listen to one expert. For every expert, I can give you another 100 experts that will say otherwise. So don't listen to those experts, they're to a penny. The real question is, do you want to control it, reduce it, and eventually stop it? And if you want to do that, you will be with me and increase this license fee, not just from 35 million, you will increase it to about 100 million naira.
Okay, Baba Jimmy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Baba Jimmy Benson, Ikorodu Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, interestingly, during the public hearing, we had these issues. It was the Minister of Health versus the Minister of Industry. The Minister of Health posited that tobacco creates over 500,000 jobs in Nigeria. It also, the tobacco companies have paid about 300 billion naira in tax in the last 5 years. They also stated during the interactive session that $200 million investment are in the tobacco industry presently today, versus the Minister of Health's assertion that tobacco kills. But everywhere in the world, sir, tobacco smokers also have the fundamental human rights. There's a right to smoke if you choose to. You have a right to smoke if you choose to. So it's commerce versus health. So we're trying to maintain the balance, increase advertisements, which is already in the regulation, and increase the licensing fee. That's what we're trying to do, but we don't want to do it in a way that will stifle investment into Nigeria. 500,000 jobs is a lot. 300 million naira tax payment is a lot as well. So we don't want to stifle them. We don't want to get those industries to exit Nigeria like other industries are doing. And we don't want people to use Nigeria as a dumping ground for fake tobacco. So we're trying to create a balance, and that's what Mr. Chairman is trying to explain. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ruka.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kiruka Oyejocha. I represent the Squad Movement Federal Constituency from Abia State. Mr. Speaker, I align myself completely with what the Chairman of Justice just said. Every other narrative may not apply. Like you said, it's either we want to discourage or we want to encourage. And from Parliament, apart from what they said in public hearing, what do we want to achieve? And the Honorable Chinda read something that I don't even have the documents here, but he mentioned a figure, 35 million naira. Whether it's something you pay annually or something you pay one-off, the truth of the matter is that we can't sit here, and people have gone to public hearing, we know the challenges. We are suffering from issues of tramadol, all kind of things, and then we can't sit here and regulate or reduce something that will make every person begin to cultivate tobacco. In regulation, there must be people who are qualified, who have license to produce the ones that will be used medically. We don't want it to be all commerce affair. So I am aligning myself to what Honorable Chinda said, with what you said, and saying that we can't stay here and reduce the price that they already have. The Parliament, I am supporting that. We should increase it. Let the government come with regulation to monitor the people who are going to be manufacturing it for health purposes. Commerce is secondary. You need to live for you even to talk about gains and how many people that are being employed. It's people who are healthy that will be employed at the end of the day. When you kill all the people who are supposed to be employed, who is going to become employable? So, Mr. Speaker, I do not agree with the amendment that the chairman of that committee is seeking. I am saying that as Parliament, we must come strongly to reduce the risk of taking tobacco.
Let's hear from a medical doctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker, there is a moral angle to this amendment. But before then, I want to point out that the old law states that 35 million naira pay variant of tobacco products, but then the amendment just goes to say 5 million. It does, sorry, I'm protected. It doesn't state whether it's a variant or it's for all of them. Now, we are government, and the primary purpose of government is the security and welfare of its citizens. Whether somebody has a right to smoke cigarette, that's his business. But the purpose of government is that we must provide for their welfare to make sure that we are secure. As a doctor, I know that cigarette smoking is one thing that is one of the diseases that you can say that's cancer attributed to cigarette smoking. It's confirmed. And so we cannot say that no matter what the country stands to gain economically, it is not worth the life of any Nigerian. And then the moral angle to this amendment is that if you you amend from 35 million per variant to 5 million, there's a question mark, there's something that can be asked. Is it that the National Assembly members have colluded to bring down this price? Because you know Nigerians are always targeting the National Assembly. So instead of bringing down this price, for that moral angle, we must not bring this price. For the fact that the life of every Nigerian is worth more than how many millions of cigarette smoking, I stand to support that. We cannot reduce it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Last right of reply.
Yes. In my submission, I said that there is a conflict between the National Tobacco Control Act and the Standard Organization of Nigeria Act. Standard Organization of Nigeria Act is taking care of the issue of variance. They are dealing with that ministry on that regard. But we consider that there should be a product license. Product license. The issue of variance is being handled by the Standard Organization of Nigeria. They came and said, look, these people don't even need a license. We are already handling it. We said no. Since the National Tobacco Control Act says there should be some form of license, let us talk about product license. That's the difference. So it's not as if we are amending 35 to 5 million. No. That one is already being handled by the Standard Organization of Nigeria. That is the issue. So if we leave it, if we leave it the way it is, there will not be a conflict between the two acts. And we cannot afford that. And that is why what we are proposing is just a product license. The issue of variance is being handled by the Standard Organization of Nigeria. This point has to be made very, very clear. But
okay. I think we're sufficiently informed now to take a decision. The issue of variance is being handled by some. So that's why they're proposing total deletion of 35. Yes, they're deleting it. That will be sorted by Standard Organization of Nigeria, according to them. So it's the product license that we're dealing with. Now we have a suggestion here that for the product license, 10 million should be paid by manufacturers, by importers of tobacco should pay 15 million. Is there any seconder to this? Okay, any other suggested amendment so that we can, what about Tunwa?
I move that it be amended that the manufacturer should pay 35 million and the importer should pay 50 million.
35 million is now up to $100,000. 35 million? Okay. But the importers should pay 50? So is Honorable Akilade, are you seconding? Okay.
Honorable Speaker, representing the Badu South Africa constituency, I have my rights to second the amendment, motion amendment as made by Honorable Atua. I second.
So the amendment from Atunwa, which has been seconded, is the 35 million to be paid by manufacturer for product license and importers of tobacco products should pay 50 million. So I'll put the question to that. Those in favor of the amendment should say aye. Point of order?
Yes.
Okay.
It will conflict. It will conflict. This amendment will do violence to the provisions of Executive Order 001 2017. Please. Executive Order has force of law.
The executive order says what?
Please,
He said you cannot put the product fee.
please, honorable members, order.
So let's hear him out, Honorable Nkiruka. What does the executive order say?
Please.
That we cannot fix any fee for the product license?
My point is on the price, on the fees.
Fees of?
Yes. If you are charging 50 million for a product license,
yes,
for an importer,
yes,
there could be a backlash.
What does the executive order say?
The executive order is talking about ease of doing business in Nigeria.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Who is saying nay there? Honorable Abdullahi. Is he the spokesperson for smokers? Let him come so that we can hear him. So, any other amendment in Regulation 23 before we carry it? Any other proposed amendment? So, we're done with 23. Regulation 23 carried. Building, but I hope it's not on the amendment. No, you cannot, because you've taken a decision. Yes. So 23, Regulation 23 carried. Regulation 26, duration of license. Duration of license. Okay. Good.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, what I want to raise the duration of license for a manufacturer. I'm not looking at it from the view of the fee, but the view of the duration of license for a manufacturer, I believe from the report, is for 2 years. And the issue of issuance of license is not money alone. It has to go through a product. It has to go through a process. So if I have an investment that I put in a country, no matter how we look at it, and I am now to wait on somebody, if somebody doesn't like my face, I have to go back to the person every other 2 years. So I'm saying, even if the fee has to be increased, let the fee be increased, but that the essence of the person doing business will now be at the mercy of the person seeking, and because they are not coming back to an organized body like National Assembly, is going to be at the command of the minister, if you look at the regulation, so to say, and the act. So if the minister does not have the face, does not like the face of a businessman, he can decide to say no, because I have to come back to you every 2 years. And whether you look at it, you've already allowed me to invest an amount of money. So if I have to come back every 2 years and you don't like me, so my inventor have to stay, then I'll come back after another 2 years. It is not.
No, I think we have to listen to him. Honorable Nkiruka, please, we shouldn't throw away the baby and the bathwater. If you take yourself as someone who wants to invest in Nigeria, you want to invest, and you know that you're going to get a license, and the duration of that license is going to last just for 2 years, you have to go back for renewal. So as an investor, who maybe you are probably managing your own money or managing money on behalf of others who have invested in your business, would you want to carry that risk of every 2 years going to renew your license? And the consideration would be, what if they deny you the right license after putting so much money on the ground to manufacture tobacco in Nigeria? And within 2 years they say, no, we cannot renew their license. So that will serve as a serious disincentive.
Yes, sir.
Seriously, if you are a business person, I thought you were a businesswoman, Lady Nkiruka. Or we'll remove the lady from your name and just call you honorable. But I thought you would be lady first before you're honorable. So, Honorable Building has a point really that we need to look at. Honorable Dambaram, who is an investment banker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry. Thank you,
You're not supporting your
Honorable Dambaram, representing Kano.
think Honorable Abiodun has spoken, and let me speak in support of what he has said. As an investor, I think I wouldn't want to go down with this kind of issue. So to me, if we're talking about what Honorable Arabo wanted to say, the ease of business, this should be part of the ease of business, to make it ease for whoever is investing. And I think with that, I would be suggesting that maybe we move it to either 4 or 5 years.
4 years, every government.
Okay, so we have a proposal. 4 years, an investment banker has spoken. If I were to approach him with a license, that I have this license, I want to build a plant in Nigeria, and the license will last for just 2 years, give me money to go and do it. I don't think as a banker you will even oblige to listen to me, because the risk is very, very high, to be candid. So he has made a proposed this thing, but Honorable Dambaram, we're just dealing with manufacturers. What of importers and distributors? And even for the...
That's what we're doing.
Close what?
That's not how we're doing close 26.
Okay, so we take them one after the other. For manufacturers, Honorable Dambaram is suggesting that it should be 4 years license.
I suggested.
Okay, Honorable Biode is seconding?
No, yes. I'm the motion that it should be 4 years.
So Honorable Biode has moved, seconded Honorable Rotimi.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Prince Rotimi Agusoye, representing the Bishop Federal Constituency of Lagos. In seconding the motion, in seconding the amendment, I want to make another amendment that it has to be 5 years. I second the amendment.
This man, you are not from Semina, so he can't be, but he's close to the smuggling fringes. Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. So, importers license.
Aye.
1 year is okay.
What for
distributions license?
2 years.
So we don't have any problem with that. So clause 26 carried as amended. 26 as amended carried. But sorry, when we're dealing with the product license, we only specified for 2 manufacturers and importers. We didn't put the distributors. For the product license, distributor doesn't pay. Pardon? Okay, so there's no need for distributors to pay product license. We only made a provision in terms of the product license under Regulation 23(2). 35 million was provided to be paid by manufacturers, and then 50 million for importers. But there was nothing for distributors. Is that okay? Distributors are not required to pay any license.
They have it there.
So where is it provided for here?
They are paying 2 million per year
for license.
And we have almost about more than 1,000 distributors in Nigeria from the information that we have.
Okay, 2 million naira for distributors. Okay, I've seen it. Okay, fantastic. So we've carried 26. Last clause is 33, offenses and penalties. Is that, are we comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable, Mr. Chairman, but just to draw our attention, all of us, this is relevant for this, because I was trying to look at where the regulations draw their power, and the reference made by the chairman of the committee that Mr. President has enacted or has made an executive order. So with respect and with relief, let me read section 39, sub 1 of the National Tobacco Control Act. It's very relevant for this and other bills that we shall consider. In addition to any matter in this act in which the minister is authorized to make regulations under this act, the minister may make regulations prescribing any matter or thing that is necessary or appropriate to fulfill the objectives of this act. But the most important one, sir, is sub 2. Any regulations made by the minister under this act, under this section, or any other section of this act shall be subject to the approval of both houses of the National Assembly. So we're in order. I'm only bringing this out so that we know that we better begin to make all these regulations subject to the approval of the National Assembly. That way, nobody will go on the folly of his own or assume powers that are beyond the parliamentary powers. Thank you, sir.
Point of information, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman.
We don't have point of information.
No, to what he's just said.
Yes.
Because his opinion will just be in nullity. We don't know what I'm just trying to say now.
You can, but there's nothing like point of information.
Okay, sir. Okay. Mr. Chairman, the germane point just made by Chairman Business and Rule, there's already a bill, an amendment in the House of Rep on this floor that has passed to second reading that tends to remove the power of National Assembly. It's sure that you just made. It has passed through second reading, and it has even been committed to committee of the whole that such regulation shouldn't come back to National Assembly again. The National Assembly is a lacuna. That's the word that was used in the bill.
No, but we have a bill on delegated legislation, and it's supposed to say that any of these regulations or bylaws that have been made must be submitted to the National Assembly for a certain period. Wait, that is the essence of that bill on delegated legislation. But that if after a specified period they have not heard from the National Assembly, in order not to stifle the regulation, it is assumed that the National Assembly has concurred, and then the regulations cannot take effect. But no regulation will take effect without the consent impliedly or expressly of the National Assembly. That's the essence of the delegated legislation bill that we have. So that we can control them. The essence is for the National Assembly is to check the regulations and ascertain if they conform with the principal act or the enabling statute. That's the reason. But the law now says the bill that I'm aware of, I think I was part of the sponsors of that bill on delegated legislation or subsidiary legislation, is to say that, okay, once they are completed like this one, you lay it before the National Assembly. But if you don't hear from the National Assembly after 30 days, automatically they take effect. It's given that the National Assembly has consented, but not to say that it should not be brought to the National Assembly. Yes.
What I know is that the president refused assent to that bill. Yes. What happened? No, that what happened. The president did not assent to that, withheld assent. So what this house did, which was proper, is to pass the procedure for delegated legislation. That is what was passed. But the president refused assent to that. And to further confirm that, I'm aware that the bill, there is a bill, I'm sure it will soon come up, to amend the National Tobacco Act, which seeks to remove the power of this parliament from approving this legislation. It was sponsored by my good friend, M.T. Mongonu. And I'm aware that the committee has been discharged of that function, and it's going to be committed to the committee of the whole.
Okay, let's be on watch out in case such a bill comes forward. We should send it to the proper destination. So, clause 33 carried. We're done with this. We have so many reports, so we have to hasten, make haste slowly, or slowly make haste. Next report next bill to be considered is for an act to repeal the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Chapter C20 Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Companies and Allied Matters Bill to provide for the incorporation of companies, limited liability partnerships, limited partnership registration of business names, together with the incorporation of trustees of certain communities, bodies, associations for related matters. I invite Honorable Pajok to give us a synopsis of the bill.
Mr. Chairman, this is one of the bills that has been agitating the minds of not just Nigerians, but the entire world. That's those who seek to do business with Nigeria. The present law was enacted since 1990. That's the 1990 Company and Allied Matters Members Act. So this amendment, this repeal and reenactment that we have done, it has been sent to the President because it was duly passed by both chambers of the National Assembly. However, the President has not assented to it, neither has he withheld assent. But I must inform the House that due to the proactiveness of the leadership of the House, they felt that this bill is very important for business in Nigeria. And so the interaction with the presidency shows that they probably have some concerns over two areas only with regards to the bill that was passed. That is on the issue of the governing board. They're saying that probably the Ministry of Finance should also be part of the board. And then secondly, on the issue of compliance, they would prefer that that also a notary public or commissioner for oaths should also notarize the document. Those are the only two areas. So we felt that if we bring this back and then take care of these observations, probably this law will see the light of the day and it will considerably ease business, operations of business in Nigeria. So this is the synopsis of the report. Those two clauses for us to pass.
Okay, we've had the synopsis of the bill, and we just have two clauses. Clause 1, carried. Clause 2, that's all. We'll jump this financial and have we stepped it down? No, we didn't. We didn't.
Sir, I propose that we stand down 14 and 15 and continue with others, then we come back.
Then we'll come back, yes, that's what I wanted us to do. So 14 and 15, we'll jump them and then move. So we'll move to the fertilizer bill. So the next bill to be considered is for an act to regulate the manufacture, importation, distribution, and quality control of fertilizer in Nigeria. I invite Honorable Mohammed Tahir Mongro to give us the synopsis of the bill. Honorable Mongro is now on the floor. Okay, Chairman Rules and Business, I think you can handle that.
It's an important bill. And so it's also a simple matter. There's a conference committee set up on this bill, and the conference committee set up both the House of Representatives and the Senate duly sat, and the report that is before us. So our rules provide that once they are presented, the report is for us not to pass. So I commend the report as passed by both committees of the Reps and the Senate to be passed.
Okay, we've had the synopsis of the report. Proceed to consider it clause by clause. Clause 1, clause 2, clause 3, clause 4, clause 5, clause 6, clause 7, clause 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Clause 18. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, jurisdiction, 24, compensation, 25, power to make regulation. Let's check this power to make the regulations, please, since our attention has been drawn to that one.
Mr. Chairman, the problem is that this is a conference committee report. Though I agree with you, but it means that because the conference committee report gives the minister the power to make those regulations. So if we want to do anything with regards to that, it means we'll be tinkering with the recommendations of both the Senate and the House of Reps conference committee.
This is a conference report. We are not supposed to alter anything. But in terms of the power to make regulations, there's no reference to the National Assembly. So it's a big issue. So I don't know what we can do here, and we can't alter. So do we just carry it? But our rules do not allow us to reject the conference committee report, except that this is fundamental.
Mr. Chairman, this is a very serious matter. I suggest that we step this down. Probably we will resign our decision and then just this particular aspect, because we should jealously guard our jurisdiction.
It's true. Totally agree with you. So consideration of this report is stepped down by leave of the House. Sixth bill to be considered is for an act to repeal the Veterinary Surgeons Act, Chapter V3, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact Veterinary Surgeons Bill and for related matters. Now invite Honorable Linus Okori to give us a synopsis of the bill. In his absence, Chairman, Rules and Business.
I think it's Honorable Timothy Golu's bill that comes before this one.
Honorable who?
Timothy Golu's conference committee report on the FCT.
No, it's veterinary, this one. Was supposed to be taken by Honorable M.T. Monguno, but it's not on the floor.
Okay, sir. So may I move that this House do consider the report on agricultural colleges and institutions, which is on a bill to repeal the Veterinary Surgeons Act, laws of the Federation of Nigeria. Just a simple matter. I think it's an amendment bill. That's the synopsis, sir.
Wow, this one is bulky. We should have taken Golu's one first. Okay. I don't think this one will be controversial. So we'll proceed to consider it clause by clause, honorable colleagues. Clause 1. Clause 2. Clause 3. 4. Clause 5. 6. Clause 7. Clause 8. Clause 9. 10, 11. 11 is page 29. 12, page 31. Close 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. It is page 47. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 3 stops at 21. I don't understand the remainder. Citation. There are so many schedules, up to 8 schedules. Schedule. It should do. The last is it should. There's no explanatory memorandum, just with citation. Yeah? Yes. Answered. Yes. Schedules 1 to 8. Okay, honorable colleagues, the bill ends with clause 21. So 21, which is the citation carried, first schedule, second schedule, third schedule, fourth schedule, fifth schedule, sixth schedule, seventh schedule, eighth schedule. Citation, long title. Move back to Honorable Timothy Golu's on, which is a bill for an act to provide for establishment of Hospitals Management Board of the Federal Capital Territory and for related matters. I invite Honorable Timothy Golu to give us a synopsis of the bill. Honorable Timothy Golu, quickly.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this is the report of the Conference Committee on the Federal Capital Territory Hospitals Management Board, establishment in 2019. The bill originated from this House. It was passed by this Honorable House on the 1st of June 2016 and transmitted to the Senate for concurrence almost a year after, that is precisely on the 12th of July 2017, the Senate concurred. And while we met at the Conference Committee level, we observed a slight difference, and we sat down and harmonized the difference with the Senate. And the
conference committee met and deliberated on the two versions, as I said. The difference is observed in clause 17 of the bill, and let me read it with the permission of the Speaker. Clause 17B deals with the expansion of the departments of the board from 10 to 12 departments, and after extensive deliberations, the conference committee adopted the Senate version, which proposed 12 departments, and the Senate version was expanded, and the scope of the departments included to cover cardiovascular and orthopedic departments, bringing it to 12 departments from the original bill proposed by the House, which has 10 departments. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, that is the main issue here with the conference report, but has been harmonized already. And by recommendation, sir, I want to say that the conference committee hereby recommends for the adoption and passage into law the harmonized version of the bill, and recommendation as follows: that this honorable House do consider and adopt the conference report on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of the Hospitals Management Board of the Federal Capital Territory and for matters connected there. We so move them.
So, honorable colleagues, the question is that we adopt the conference committee report on this bill. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Move on to the seventh bill to be considered is for an act to amend the University of Nigeria Act, Chapter U, 11, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, to specify the minimum qualification for the chairman of the governing council, ownership of intellectual property, and to provide for pre-action notice to the University Authority for related matters. Now I invite Honorable Aminu Suleiman Goro to give us a synopsis of the bill.
Honorable Speaker, Anyway. Honorable Chairman, sir, my honorable colleagues, the bill under reference, Honorable Chairman, is an amendment bill. Honorable Chairman, leaders here are making noise and disturbing me.
I hope you heard Honorable Aminu.
Leaders making noise?
Now I know you are a true comrade. I will withdraw the word retired from.
Honorable Chairman, the bill under reference is an amendment bill whose main objective affect Section 1, Section 5A, Section 10, and the intention is to insert a new paragraph 2A, to insert a new paragraph 19A, Article 81 of the third schedule. Honorable Chairman, the bill seeks to amend the University of Nigeria Act CAFU 11, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to specify the minimum qualification of the chairman of governing council, ownership of intellectual property, and to provide for pre-action notice to the university authority and for related matters. The big honorable chairman benefited from counsel of all stakeholders in the sector and was subjected to critical analysis and discussion with relevant stakeholders like I cited, and at the end of the day, the recommendation as content is the product of this wide consultation. I therefore respectively ask the Committee of the Whole to consider and approve the recommendation there. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, thank you for that brief synopsis. Honorable colleagues, we will consider the report clause by clause. Clause 1, carried. Clause 2, carried. Clause 3, carried. Clause 4, carried. Clause 5, carried. Clause 6, carried. Explanatory memorandum, carried. Wow. Only other thing I think we must carry is the comrade's signature. I don't think even bourgeois don't sign like this. Look at that signature. I think we have to carry it as well. A long title. You can see the signature of your comrade turned bourgeois. Next report to be considered is for an act to amend the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act to include colleges of agriculture, tertiary teaching hospitals, and private universities as beneficiaries of the fund, and increase some penalties. And for related matters, I invite Honorable Aminu Suleiman to give us a synopsis of the bill.
Honorable Chairman, my respected colleagues, this bill is also intended to amend the Tertiary Institution Trust Fund Act to provide for inclusion of colleges of agriculture, private universities, and of course the hospital, teaching hospital institutions and related matters. This is one of the bills that was widely debated and contested by interested parties. And at the end of the day, most of the relief sought, particularly as they relate to patronage of TED fund for private universities, for colleges of agriculture, and for the teaching hospital, were not granted or were not recommended. However, there are some clauses that were introduced, and it is the prerogative of the Committee of the Whole to look at them as recommended in our report and approve accordingly. I so move, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman.
So it was the consensus of the stakeholders that private universities too should benefit from the fund.
I said it is general consensus that private universities should not, there is no contemplation at all that private universities should enjoy. Absolutely not. The report is very clear.
So in this case, what happened to the long title of the bill that says include private universities, colleges of agriculture, increase of penalties? Maybe something needs to be done there as well, but we'll come to it. So we will take it clause by clause. Clause 1. Clause 2. Clause 3. Clause 4, which is citation, explanatory memorandum. So the only thing is the long title. Can we amend it or just leave it like this? It says that to include private universities. That seems to even be the operative word. So, is anybody proposing an amendment so that we'll take it? Because, yes.
Mr. Chairman, there is something peculiar with this proposed bill. you going through it, you find out that all the clauses are recommended, that they recommended that we reject all, and we have carried their recommendation. All the amendments, all rejected. So in essence, there is actually nothing before us.
If it's all rejected, then there should have been no report.
Nothing.
So, and we considered and reject all the clauses then. So let me even carry the long title, because it was rejected. So it goes to nothing. So we consider all the clauses and rejected them. That's all. Next is the Bill for an Act to establish Federal University building Kebbi State, as a conventional university with restricted programs and limited and focused facilities to ensure equity and access to tertiary education, accounting for related matters. Invite Honorable Aminu Suleiman Goro to give us the synopsis of the bill.
Honorable Chairman, honorable colleagues, this bill is an establishment act I'm sorry for that small delay. The report under reference, Honorable Chair, my colleagues, is an establishment act which seeks to establish the Federal University bringing Kebbi State to ensure equity and access to tertiary education in the country. The university is intended to be a conventional university with restricted programs and limited and focused facilities and for related matters. The objective of the bill, Mr. Chairman, is to encourage advancement of learning and to hold out to all persons without distinctions of race, creed, sex, or political conviction. It is also intended to provide courses of instruction and other facilities for the pursuit of learning in all its branches. 3. To encourage and promote scholarship and to conduct research in restricted field of learning and human endeavor. Honorable Chairman, my honorable colleagues, this bill too was subjected to a public hearing where members of the public, particularly stakeholders in the education sector, appeared and benefit the committee with various perspectives on the basis of which the committee arrived at the recommendation as contained, and it is our plea that this honorable committee of the whole would look at the recommendations objectively and arrive at an informed position. I so move, Honorable Chairman.
Well, honorable colleagues, you have had the synopsis of the report and the bill. We'll proceed, as is our custom, to consider it clause by clause. Clause 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15, 16, 17, removal of examiner, 18, disciplinary action on students, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, which is citation, first schedule, That presupposes that there must be second schedule. Second schedule. Just first one, second schedule. Explanatory memorandum. Long title. The next report to be considered is that of Committee on Gas Resources. Okay, it was stepped down. So we skip that. Next, Committee on Gas Resources, step down. We move to the next report to be considered, which is that of Committee on Public Accounts in the annual report of the Auditor General of the Federation 2010. I invite Honorable Okechinde to give us a synopsis of the report. This one is which one? Volume 2. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, my dear colleagues, the report has 490 clauses. It is the Auditor General's report for 2010. And perhaps let me just briefly draw attention to the fact that this is the first time the National Assembly is considering the report of the Public Accounts Committee since the inception of this democratic regime. And indeed, it will also go down in the annals of history of our parliamentary democracy that the 8th Assembly is indeed the first to go this far. Therefore, urge us to consider the recommendations and where necessary, approve or reject. Thank you, sir.
Well, we haven't done this before. This is the first time, and I must warn you, it's very, very bulky. I hope if we take it one recommendation after the other, that's 490. So if you do 1 minute, you do 490 minutes. 1 minute, okay. So let's, but that means I must count 490. Okay, recommendation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That we are not looking at the report. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Yes, after 50 you can now rest.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Recommendation 1.
I'm Professor Majela, at the north and the south of Federal and in Actually, I agree that we should consider it because I was surprised. I needed to come back to the house to see that for the first time part of such an important procedure. But I just want the chairman to make a clarification. Looking at the report, there are some things written with pencil, and I want to know whether that is the one we are carrying or the one that is typed. Please give us the explanation so that we know what we are carrying. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was an error in the numbering of the clauses, so the ones written in pencil are the clauses.
Okay, thank you.
Harry.
We have already carried up to 50 so far. Which one?
Thank you, Chairman. I've seen 50 to the end of the clause. I'm of the view, and I want to move that the House adopt all has been carried. If there is any issue, then can come back for decision. So I adopt that the clause is from 50 to the end of it stands considered and carried. If you did so, if you deem it fit. If there's any issue, then one can now come back to the working material. I therefore say it's carried. Thank you very much.
So he's proposing that we'll carry everything, but there has to be specific questions on each of the recommendations. So we just have to move as fast as we can. Yes. No. We have to. There has to be specific question. You can't say you're carrying recommendation 10 to 50 or 50 to 200. And let's just go on. It's going to be tough, really. 51. I'm already on 87 from my page here. 52, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 60, 61, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Carry.
When so we're carrying everything in good faith, believing that the committee have done an excellent work. 71, 72, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 81, 82, 83, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 90. 91, 92, 93, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100.
We believe Chinda.
101, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 111, 2, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 120. 121, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 130. 131, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 140, 141, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 150. Come on, and we're not up to half. 151, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60, 161, 162, 163, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 170, 171, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 180. 181, 182, 183, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 190. 191, 192, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 200. 201, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 210. 211, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 220. 221, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 231, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 240, 241, 242, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 250, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 260, 261, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 270, 71, 72, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 280, 81, 82, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 290, 291, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 300.
Nigeria will survive.
301, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 310, 311, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 320, 321, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 340. 341, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 350, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 360. 361, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 370, 371, 371, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 381, 382, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 390, 391, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 400. Yes. 401, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 410. 411, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 420. On 420?
Not on the report itself.
No. Let's finish carrying. There you can rest. 420. 421, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. 430. 431, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 441, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 450.
490 be the last one.
451, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 460. 461, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 470. 71, 72, 73, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 480. 481, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
490.
490.
Don't finish.
Finish. Opario.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Appendix.
Yes.
You will carry. The summary of the. Pardon? All recommendations in the summary of the report carried. Okay, Honorable carried the Prince.
Rotimi. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Rotimi.
My name is Prince Rotimi Agunsoye, representing
that you carried the
Federal Constituency of Lagos. Good report, but I do not understand where it is written for the year ended 31st of December 2010. When is the report, at what range of time is the report covering? And this is volume 1, full report September 2018. I don't understand.
Like 10 years after now.
So the chairman can speak to that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my dear colleagues. In fact, that is the challenge that we have. We met reports pending from 2010 up to 2015. And then between the lifespan of this assembly, only one report has been rolled out. That's 2016. So we are saddled with backlog of reports. And the impression was that the National Assembly was doing nothing concerning these reports. So we have been able to look at 2010 to 2014, and the reports are ready. We have laid 2010 and considered graciously today. We hope that before the end of the lifespan of this assembly, we'll lay 2012 to 2014, even if it is not considered.
But that has been the issue, that the reports are always submitted, but we don't consider them. This is the first time in the history of the institution that we're considering the report. But I have very bad news for us, that we still have the second part. Or is it an explanatory memorandum to the first report?
Yes, sir. What we did, we had 3 volumes. Volume 1 is comprehensive, what we have considered.
Okay.
And then volume 2 is for agencies that were cleared. And then volume 3 is for agencies that were indicted, so that it will be easy for consideration. If, like EFCC, the Nigerian police and others that are supposed to act on it, if they want to act on it, it's easy. Rather than go through the entire document and start distilling it, they have the 2 volumes.
Okay, so now we can carry the volume 2 as one document.
The volume 2, everything is contained in the volume 1 that we have considered.
Everything is here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that means we're done? But we should take the volume 2 as well. But we're not taking it close by close, we'll just take it as a whole. Deputy Leader.
Mr. Chairman, sir, respected colleagues, possibly a point of information, because from what has been said is that there has never been consideration of a report of this sort. I want to remind the House that in 2011, we considered the report of popular accounts, and I recall one of the cases that was considered during that time was the case of road that Chief Tony of blessed memory was involved in it. Mr. Giwa is here. I want to say that we have considered the report of this, but not to this magnitude. That's what I say. But consideration, yes, the House has considered it, but it would be a kind of misinformation to say the House has never considered popular accounts continue reports. Thank you.
Well, I think from the records of the House we've checked, and what Chinda said is actually true. Yes, there was a time we started, but we didn't conclude the consideration of the report. This is the first time this has been done, and it's out there in the public domain anyway, from the records of the National Assembly. Prof.
Thank you, the Chairman. I was following, and we carry up to 4 nights. I don't know whether we can just exclude the appendices. While appendix 1 and 2...
We have carried them already.
Appendix?
We have, yes.
Okay. What about
yes. So, volume 2 carried, which is an explanation of this. The whole of volume 2 carried.
I've not seen it.
I can give you my own. Pass it to Prof. This is volume 2. If you don't have, you can take it. Give him.
How can you be carrying what you have not seen? Speaker carry.
So,
bring it for me. Bring it, Mr. Man.
So the next report is a report on the ad hoc committee on the need to ascertain the proceeds of the Treasury single account to enhance transparency, accountability, and good governance. And I'll call on Honorable Lambaram Nuhu to give us a synopsis of the report.
To my political enemies to be indicted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I can see their name here.
My honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Lambaram Abubakar Nuhu, representing Kano Municipal, the only gentleman from the municipality in the whole of the great chambers, and I am from Kano State. Mr. Chairman, my honorable colleagues, if you recall, it was in March 2016 that the Minister of Finance made an announcement that over 2.9 trillion has occurred to the federal government Treasury single account within 6 months of operation. This led Nigerians to ask many questions, mainly bordering on the availability of funds to implement the federal budget and why borrowing continues with so many funds apparently available. Misinterpretation of the policy began to occur, and fears started to circulate on the distinction between funds belonging to the Federation as a whole and funds belonging to only to the federal government. This was specifically raised by Revenue, Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. Now, Section 81 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria provides for all government revenues to be kept in one consolidated revenue fund, from which expenditures only occur upon the approval of National Assembly. The TSA policy is supposed to ensure that this law is fully complied with. Issues of compliance to the TSA implementation policy by various MBS of government was also queried by Nigerians who could see the country not getting the full benefits of the policy. So this committee was set up, and in carrying our work, the committee engaged with relevant stakeholders and MDAs through meetings, interactive sessions, and public hearings. And the committee also requested for documents which were reviewed, and from the review of the documents and the investigation carried out, it is my honor and privilege to present to the House the recommendations of the committee as presented in the order paper. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the synopsis of the report, and we will proceed to consider the recommendations, which is on page 17 of the report. So we start with recommendation 1, carried. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Sorted out. So we now go back to the two most difficult bills now. Deputy Leader, I hope you are not frowning. Oh, you are comfortable? Okay, but you are not looking comfortable. You can smile a bit. So we'll go back. So next is the bill for an act to amend the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act, Chapter E1, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, provide for quick recovery procedures for stolen assets, implement active pursuit of cases, build capacity, trust cooperation with foreign counterparts, ensure adequate funding of the Commission, more independent and effective in the enforcement of economic and financial crimes, and to enhance the effectiveness of the bill. And for related matters, I invite Honorable Kayode Oladele to move for resumption of consideration of the report.
Honorable Chairman.
Why is Kayode?
My colleague just stepped out, and he asked me that since two of us are doing it jointly, I can handle it for him. And we have conferred. The report was clear yesterday. Everybody has it.
We had it yesterday.
I do move that we resume consultation, and I think in the next 5 minutes,
okay.
we will be done.
suspect is trying to report himself.
So I move that we resume consideration, sir.
Honorable Abonta.
I
Where did I?
support the motion as moved by the defatigable Chairman, Rules and Business.
So, honorable colleagues, the motion has been moved. Yesterday, we drew the curtains on the section, I think clause 25. We stop at 25. We're almost done. So, clause 25 deals with section 35 of the Principal Act amended by adding new subsection to section 35. I think we dealt with that one. We carried it 25. Was it okay? That was well. So we start with clause 25.
Sir,
Honorable colleagues.
it was referred to me, to my committee.
Okay, yes.
This issue of 2.5 or 2.5%, which Honorable Mongono raised. It was what led to a heated debate, and we were asked to confer with Honorable Kaile Boladele on what is the global practice with regards to payment of this kind of agency, a percentage of the funds that they would have recovered. So I was supposed to report on that first, then we proceed to consider this clause and then consider other clauses. So, sir, we have conferred with my colleague, the chairman of the Economic Crimes Committee, and I'm of the opinion that we should completely expunge that recommendation so that we leave the provisions of the Principal Act the way they are. So no issue of percentage.
So no issue of percentage?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Deputy Leader.
I thought the chairman should be very categorical because he said he's of the opinion. The recommendation of the House is that it's for them to find out what is happening globally. So I thought it would do it because yesterday there were some assertions made up that they have this in Ghana. They have, so are we being misled by what was being given to us yesterday? So that would be clear. Thank you, sir.
Well, I think the leader is absolutely right. The question was as to the propriety or otherwise of allowing the AFCC to take 2.5% of proceeds of crime that they are able to get forfeited to government at the end of the day. And it was like prosecuting crimes are very, very difficult and expensive. And somebody even cited the case of one of our former governors who was prosecuted in England that cost almost £30 million. So the question was whether EFCC can be prosecuting for both states and local government and not getting anything in return. And the opinion was divided. A lot of members were of the opinion that we should just provide money to EFCC through the budgeting or budgetary process. If there's any need for more funds, we should appropriate more funds to EFCC. And the opinion on the other side was that, well, that seems to be the practice in other jurisdictions. We now said, okay, we want to make a world-class legislation. We're not just legislating for today or for just convenience, but what is it that will be in tandem with international best practice? So we'd ask the chairman, Rules and Business, plus the chairman of our Committee on Financial Crimes, to research and come up with a position as to what is it that other countries are practicing as of now. Is it the practice in our sister countries in Africa or some of the countries in Western world where we can borrow the precedent? And if there's no precedent anywhere for us to borrow, then we'll take the decision. But if that's the practice elsewhere, whether it will be convenient the opinion of the House to say, okay, EFCC can charge a percentage of 2.5 is high or is even low in view of the practice in other climes. So that was where we stopped. So, Chairman, Rules and Business, you're supposed to tell us your determination as to whether this is the practice in other countries or you couldn't find any precedents.
To be honest, because this is an honorable house, so we are people of honor. When my colleague confided in me as to his disposition so as to not to generate further the controversy, I just thought the matter should lie there. So I have not done that research on the global practice. If it is the view of the House that we must do that comparative analysis, what obtains in other jurisdictions, no, we can do that. So that at the next on the next day, that is on Tuesday, I can make a report on that. But I was only just telling us his disposition on this matter. But let me further say, sir, that is the part A. There's the part B. Because yesterday, I read in the papers where the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission informed the public that in the past 3 years, or the past almost 4 years, the EFCC has been able to recover, be able to make up to 1 trillion naira. It was even announced yesterday, even on channels. I heard it with my own ears. So, if in about 3.5 years or 4 years, the agency has recovered motives of crime to the tune of about 1 trillion naira, 2.5 for all those number of years is 25 billion naira. Now, I'm not opening a debate, it's just to open our eyes as to the realistic this that's happening. But I will still come up with if the House feels that we should still be given time to do a comparative analysis. Thank you, sir.
No, I think it's better we go for the comparative analysis because that was our resolution of yesterday. So we're not debating or litigating this matter today, please. Let's see what is the practice in other climes. If we're able to establish the practice and we want to depart from it, then we have to justify why we want to depart from the established global norm. So that would be the position. It's not something that is convenient to Coyote or something that is convenient to us as members. We have the responsibility for the present and even for the future of this country in our hands. So whatever we're doing, we should try and do it right so that we're guided by the norm, international norm on this practice, as it were. So I would still recommend that we step it down so that we can have that report. It's something that you can just Google the internet and you get the information. So we'll take it on Tuesday.
Chairman, sir, but we can go ahead and consider other positions so that when we come back, we have to save time because time is honestly
okay.
So that we're only coming back to only only this clause, because we are almost through with this report.
So we skip clause. Clause 25 is the clause we are going to step down now to make that determination. So we move to clause 26, which is amendment of section 39 of the Principal Act. Do we carry that? Can we carry 26? You don't have, but you had it, Abonta, and we made it clear that you should return the paper. Carried? That one is not a serious provision, Honorable Lima. Clause 27. Okay.
Let me see. Okay, there's no issue with 27.
27 has no issue.
Yes, sir. I was going to propose, before we get to 28, some amendment, but after 27.
So we carry 27. 27 carried. Okay, so what were the amendment? Is it on 27 or you are proposing that we insert another session altogether?
Because I don't want us to go to clause 28, because clause 28 seeks to amend section 46 of the Principal Act. In view of the decision of the House earlier on this issue of regulations, though it is not contained in any of the clauses, I was looking at section 43 of the EFCC Act, and subject, with your permission, let me read it. It says, the Attorney General of the Federation may make rules or regulations with respect to the exercise of any of the duties, functions, or powers of the Commission under this Act. I felt that we should add that subject to the approval of the National Assembly, because if we pass this now, we will not have the opportunity of coming back to that section 43, yes, sir, in line with our previous decision. So it's like I am amending by proposing a new clause.
New clause 20, that will be 28, the new 28. So 28 now moves to 29. So we renumber it. New clause 28. Any seconder to the new clause being proposed on a number?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Dambram Abakar Nub, representing Kano Municipal. I second the introduction of the clause 28 as moved by the Chairman of Rules and Business.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. So new clause 28 as proposed, carried. Carried. Now clause 28, which is now the number 29, carried. New 29 carried, which was 28. It's just interpretation, so except there's something wrong with it. Carried. Oops. There's short title, explanatory memorandum, long title. So the only thing outstanding is clause 25. So this will be the last, but it's a bit bulky. Next is an act to repeal the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 and enact the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Bill and for related matters. We invite the Chairman, Rules and Business, to give us a synopsis of the report since Honorable Kaide Oladele is not around.
Mr. Chairman, we conferred with the Chairman of the Economic Crimes Committee, though I am ready, but he has pleaded that we step down consideration of this very important bill till Tuesday. That's to enable him to attend because we may have some questions which he will be in the best position to answer because they had a public hearing and he's conversant with all the issues. So may I please that we adjourn consideration of this bill until Tuesday next week. I so move.
I hope you are not taking hint from Deputy Leader. Because this motion is too certain. Okay. Consideration of report stepped down by leave of the House. I guess we're done. So we keep copies of this report for Tuesday, please. Abanta, so they won't come and say you forgot it. Yes, Tuesday. Leader, move that we revert to plenary to report progress.
Respected Chair, sir, distinguished colleagues, I like to move that the House do revert to plenary to report progress. As so moved.
Honorable MT.
Honorable Chairman, honorable members, I hereby second the motion that the House do revert to plenary to report progress.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. House hereby reverts to plenary in order to report progress. The House and the Committee of the Whole consider report of the Committee on Delegated Legislations, National Tobacco Control Regulation 2019, and approve Regulation 23 as amended, approve Regulations 26 as amended, and approve new Regulation 33(4) of the report. The House and the Committee of the Whole consider report on the bill for act to repeal the Companies and Allied Matters Act, Chapter C20, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Companies and Allied Matters Bill to provide for the incorporation of companies, limited liability partnership, limited partnerships, registration of business names together with incorporation of trustees of certain communities, bodies, associations, and for related matters, and approve clauses 1 and 2 of the bill. House and the Committee of the Whole resume consideration report of the Committee on Financial Crimes, the bill for an act to amend the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act, Chapter E1, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, provide for quick recovery procedures for stolen assets, implement active pursuit of cases, build capacity and prove trust, and cooperation with foreign counterparts, ensure adequate funding of the Commission, more independent and effective in the enforcement of economic and financial crimes, and to enhance effectiveness of the bill and for related matters, and deferred clause 25, approve clauses 26 and 27, approve new clause 28, approve clause 29, the explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill. The House and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Financial Crimes Bill of an Act to repeal the Money Laundering Prohibition Act 2011 and enact the Money Laundering Prevention Prohibition Bill for related matters and deferred consideration of the report. House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Conference Committee on the bill for an act to regulate the manufacture, importation, distribution, quality control of fertilizer in Nigeria and for related matters, deferred consideration of the report. The House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Conference Committee on Bill for an Act to provide for the establishment of Hospitals Management Board of the Federal Capital Territory and for matters connected therewith, and adopted the Conference Committee report. The House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions Bill for an Act to repeal the Veterinary Surgeons Act, Chapter V3, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Veterinary Surgeons Bill and for related matters, and approve clauses 1 to 21, the schedules, and the long title of the bill. House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education Services Bill for an Act to amend the University of Nigeria Act, Chapter U11, Laws of Federation of Nigeria 2004, to specify the minimum qualification for the chairman of the Governing Council, ownership of intellectual property, and to provide for pre-action notice to the University Authority and for related matters, and approve clauses 1 to 6, the explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill. House and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education Services Bill for an Act to amend the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act to include colleges of agriculture, tertiary teaching hospitals, and private universities as beneficiaries of the fund, and increase some penalties and for related matters, and rejected the entire bill. The House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education Services on a bill for an act to establish Federal University building in Kebbi State as a conventional university with restricted programs and limited and focused facilities to ensure equity and access to tertiary education in the country and for related matters, and approved clauses 1 to 29, the schedules, the explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill. The House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Public Accounts on the annual report of the Auditor General of the Federation 2010, pursuant to Order 18, Rule 621 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, and approve recommendations 1 to 490 in Volume 1, approved all the recommendations in Volume 2, and all the recommendations in the summary of the report. The House and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Ad Hoc Committee on Treasury Single Account on the need to ascertain the process of the Treasury Single Account TSA to enhance transparency, accountability, and good governance, and approve recommendations 1 to 20 of the report. Leader, motion that will adopt the votes and proceed. Okay, no, adopt the report first.
Sir, respected colleagues, I ask you that the House to adopt the report of the Committee of the Whole as so moved.
Honorable MT.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the motion for the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole as ably moved by the Leader of the House.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Motion that will adopt the votes and proceedings to enable us to process the bills.
Respected Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I ask you that the House to adopt the votes and proceedings of today to enable the House process the reports. I so move.
Honorable MT.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the motion for the adoption of reports and proceedings to enable the House to process the bills. So second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Finally, motion for adjournment.
Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I ask to move that the House do adjourn to Tuesday next week, 11 a.m.
Honorable MT.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby second the motion for adjournment to Tuesday next week by 11 a.m.
House hereby adjourns to Tuesday, 11 a.m. prompt.